Okay, so we'll get started. We're 2 minutes in. So I'm going to share my screen. So here's kind of the agenda for today. We are going to go over a little bit of the psychology behind a two-step close, the framework, and then I have a couple people, either Jonas or Lauren, I think, that are supposed to be jumping on at some point. And we're just going to go through a non-scripted, I haven't practiced with them or anything. We're going to go with the flow of actually doing a two-step close and then talk about that next step, right? So you have the process of why we do it. You have what you actually do in the first meeting. You have a little bit of proof so that you can get them to show up to the next meeting. And then you have the second step of the two-step close. Okay, so we will get started here. So why do the two-step close? The whole reason, the power of a two-step close, and I want to be clear, this is not just for real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent, you should be doing this same thing with an HR director or maybe a car salesman or maybe an unconventional way that you would get business. Maybe you would do this with a builder if you're a real estate agent. Maybe you would do this with an investor. But the whole reason you're doing it is because the power of the two-step close is it's this simple. I show up for step one and I say, what's important? What should I do to earn your business and what shouldn't I do to push you away? And then you go to the second meeting and you say, hey, you remember those things you said that I should do? I do those things, and here's proof that I do them. Also, you said I shouldn't do these things. I don't do those ever. They're telling you how to sell them. One of the things that's changed my business too is going into these two-step close meetings and thinking to myself, I'm looking to see if this is the right fit. Not everybody is going to be the right fit. But if you do an unreasonable amount of two-step closes, you will end up finding people that fit. I just had somebody leave the office right before this, second step of the two-step close. They talked about referral-based business, how they educate deeply. Everything they talked about is aligned with the way that Summit does business and the way that I do business. It's a great fit. I'm aggressively asking for the business now. I know that I can serve them and I can uncover. I already know their motivation and the way they do business, and I know I'm a good fit for it. So it's really easy to sell in the form of service. I'm going to serve your clients the same way that you do. I'm going to be a good extension of you. And then you're knowing how to sell each person, right? Each person's individual. You're going to ask a lot of whys to uncover the deeper motivation because you want to understand how they operate, to understand, is this a good fit? And then how am I going to end up satisfied? If you're motivated by money, I'm going to talk about different things than if you're motivated by time or joy. So steps, we're going to go through just the framework of the two-step close. The first thing you do is honor and build rapport. You give honor and build rapport. How can you give honor that's true? Tell me what research or what homework you would do to give honor before you show up to the meeting. Somebody chime in.
They're all on social media. So go through their social media, MMI, and maybe even ask others.
Yeah, that's great. So if you know somebody, so here, that's a great tactic, right? So the first thing that you should do is you should literally have it tagged before you show up to a two-step close meeting. Now I'm in Jolt, so I'm doing two-step close meetings a lot. Let's say that I wanted to see Asher Black. He's my top referral partner. I would look in here and I would find some stuff out. I would see who our mutual friends are. I'd see if I have any connections. We have a lot of mutual friends. I would do the same thing over here. I would make sure that I've liked and potentially commented on something. He has a company one. Okay, so this guy looks like, oh, we have a lot of connections, which makes sense. If I pull him up here, we use Redder here, and I'm in East Tennessee. We use Redder. MMI stinks over here. I'm sure it's great in different parts of the country. It's just not accurate here. So when I pull up, if I pulled up Asher and MMI, it shows that we haven't done any deals. If I pull him up in Redder, he's done 58 buy sides, and then I can come down and I can actually see who he works with. I can see, okay, 13 of them have been with me. An easy way to look and see, do they have, I just met somebody up in Knoxville. They had a really big referral partner that they had done about the same amount of business with them as I had with Asher. So I knew how to sell to them. I'm not trying to replace this chick. I'm trying to give a bunch of honor to her too. Hey, I'm just trying to fill a need. I have an investor list. I might have a different hook. So I'm going to shift on what value I potentially can add based on the deepness of this potential relationship. Now you might pull some other people up and they've had 7 closings. They've had, let me, Bender. Okay. So this is the new person I'm working with. Really good agent. 58 deals in the last 12 months, 24 buy sides. When I looked her up, guess what? She's only done 3 out of 24 with one person. We're starting to get traction now. We just closed our second one. We have our third pre-approval together. I'm going to go try to add value in a different way to her. So the first thing is do the research, friend them on social. There's an extra piece of you ask for them to be friends. They'll probably research you a little bit. They'll be a little bit more familiar with you. How are you going to develop rapport at the beginning of the meeting? Grace, you're the first person I see. What would you say to develop rapport?
Ask them about themselves.
People want to talk about themselves. So you might have some things that you found on social media. Ask them some questions. What is your family life like? A little bit more personal stuff. Now, depending on how you want to build your business and how you want to be perceived is how you will address the beginning of the meeting. There are certain type of relationships that's a little bit more of a buddy sell inside the structure, and there are other ones you can tell based on this person's personality. Hi D, I told him it was going to be 15 minutes. I sure as heck better be 15 or I'm a liar. So in the beginning, for instance, with doing all these Jolt meetings, I say, hey, I told you it was going to be 15 minutes. We can totally be friends. I can tell, like, I stalked you a little bit on Facebook. I could tell we'd be friends. I want to make sure I stay on time because I'm sure you have stuff after this. Now, they might tell me I don't have anything after this, and maybe I get a little bit more time, but I might say something along those lines. I'm going to stay with the 15 minutes I told you about. Is that fair? I'm going to set a timer for myself. I'm going to look at my watch. I want to make sure I respect your time. You're probably going to do a little bit more honor and a little bit less rapport in those situations because you need to dig into how can I be a business value add. They can grow to like you if you can show them that you're going to save them time, bring them more joy, or make them more money. Okay, next thing here. So the rapport piece. Next is why real estate? Why'd you get into real estate? What's your story? I'm constantly trying to find out what motivated them to get in. Was it time? Is it, and this is the typical response. I wanted more free time. I was sick of working 80 hours a week. I was out of town all the time with my sales job. The other piece would be joy. I was miserable at what I was doing. I love houses. You'll hear that one. The other one that's a little bit easier to spot is the money piece. I knew that there was money in it. I was making X and I knew I could do more, a little bit more potentially achievement based. There are great agents that are motivated by all three. The only reason you're finding this out is because you're trying to find a way to be a little bit more connective and ask questions that helps you understand them more and just understand how you're going to align with them. Next piece is just find emotion. This is a little bit harder to do, especially when it's inside a 15-minute meeting. So I want to be clear. This part it can be hard. I'm just going to give you a brief example of one of the ways that I found this to be successful is, trying to get them to tell a story about how they got in or the pain that they had beforehand. So one of the agents I just looked up that I just started working with, we closed a couple deals. I asked her a few months ago when we were meeting, first time, I said, so why'd you get into real estate? And she said, well, my mom was in it before. And I said, well, tell me that story. How your mom was in it. How long was she in it? How did she convince you to get in it? Because I can tell you, whatever you were doing before this, I'm sure you were successful at it, giving honor. She said, well, my mom was a real estate agent for 30 years. And she kept wearing me out for years that you would be great at this. I got my license and she passed away 6 months later. Went, oh, we're going down a different path now. Amy, are you kind of carrying on mom's legacy then? Is that kind of part of your motivation here? I don't know if that's true or not, but I would think to myself, if that would have happened and that my mom got me in, and she said, you know what? I don't know if I've ever thought about it like that, but yeah. And she kind of started to get choked up. I want to be clear. You can be hyper manipulative with this, and I would suggest that you shouldn't be. But if you can find a way to get people to have emotion and to tell you stories, you're going to be more connected. The danger with you becoming an excellent salesperson is that you can use this for good or you can use this for evil. I didn't try to make her cry intentionally, but I was genuinely curious about why did you get into the business? What are your motivators? And then at that point, I was thinking to myself, being empathetic, putting myself in her shoes, what would I be like? So what are you like? How has this impacted you? It's got to be a big deal. Your mom passed away. Next thing that you're going to move into, and this strategically, you don't want to stay in the emotion too long. You can't, right? You don't have enough time to, but you want to transition into 3 things that you potentially need in a lender. So, hey, tell me 3 things that you have to have, non-negotiables. What do you need? What do you think some things that people would say are? Let's get some Mike Bolin. Tell me something that when you're doing a 2-step close, somebody would tell you. What do they need in a lender?
Call me back.
All right. So if somebody said, call me back, I would shift a little bit and I would ask more questions because call me back is inside a bigger frame of something that people tell us all the time. So if you were going to do that, Mike, and you moved yourself 1 step up, what would that be? Inside what?
What's the next question after that?
No, I'm inside. So if you think of this overarching umbrella, there's something that call me back falls inside of. What is the biggest thing we hear from real estate agents? The number 1 thing?
Follow through.
Communication.
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 Communication is the most common one. So call me back is it's a piece of the communication piece. So if I hear something, especially you do this over and over and over again, you hear something and you think that falls in this category. They say, I want my clients taken care of. You can you can back it into potentially what's called education. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, Mike, is you're saying you need somebody to call you back. Is that a problem that you're running into a lot? Why are you bringing that up? So I would ask that question, and we'll do some role play stuff, and we could actually do the little bit right now. But like, if you were to be asked that, why is it important for somebody to call you back? And here's how I would caveat. That seems kind of silly, I know. So you can cut the awkwardness of the tension. Why would it be important that somebody call you back, Mike? I know that's kind of a silly question.
Well, I'm busy guy. They're busy. We need to. We have timelines that we have to meet, and
Okay.
people are counting on me, and I'm counting on them.
Okay. So if we don't hit the timelines, how does it affect your business?
Oh, we could get off timeline. We could close the deal late. We could have extra fees.
Yeah. And then what does that do if you're closing late and people aren't happy? How does that affect you long run?
Yeah, it doesn't give me any potential future clients.
Mm.
I'm not taking. It makes me not take care of my client the way what I'd like to take care of them.
Yeah. And then ultimately you don't get as many past client, current client referrals, right?
Exactly.
So inside that, there's literally 3 things. And I could dig deeper and potentially try to figure out which one it is. But initially we thought it was money. He talked about the frustration, potentially a little bit more joy. Or sorry, not money. You said time. It was time. It was all timing. So it was initially timing. We don't have time for that. And then it was potentially the joy. And then we talked about a little bit more and I teased it out and it might be money. So I don't know if that one's super clear, but I at least know like, okay, that's a big pain point. And then you potentially can ask why more. After you get through a few of those, it's important to dig deep on each one, even if they start rattling it off, right? You're going to have people that say, communication, got to close on time, I need referrals back. And if you're not controlling the meeting, you could go, okay, and they're controlling it. You need to control the meeting. Hey, Mark, you said, you got 3 of those. I want to dig into that for a little bit. That's an easy way just to take control back. Hey, I want to dig into that for a little bit. So you said that you needed the communication piece. Listen, communication is different for some people. Some people say that it needs to be call me back within a day, and some people it's call me back within 5 minutes. What does communication mean to you? Don't assume that you have the same definition. I've been really surprised sometimes where some people are like, oh, you need to pick up every time I call. Guess what? Not the right fit. And if they think that we should be picking up every single time they call, first off, I can have a team hotline. That's fine. Like, no big deal. But they're probably not the right fit because they're probably a Zillow lender or they're a Zillow realtor. They're just not, it doesn't align with our business model. Don't be afraid to weed people out or to not aggressively pursue people that don't end up fitting in with what makes sense for your particular business. So just a couple more things here. And then you go into 2 things that are deal breakers. Tell me 2 things that if I did this, you'd say, forget you, Chris, I'm never going to talk to you again. What are 2 deal breakers? Same thing. Why? Ask some questions. And then the last one here, before you set the second meeting is, hey, okay, so and then you want to reframe it. If I do these 3 things, and by the way, you're taking notes the whole time. Sorry, I didn't say that. Have a notes. Tell them you're taking notes. If for some reason it's via Zoom, like I'm doing a business up in Knoxville, it's an hour and a half away. If that's the case, I'm going to tell them, hey, by the way, I'm not ignoring you. I actually have notes right here, and I'll show them my notes. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm taking notes. So for instance, this guy that just came in, his 3 things was answer the phone, which we boiled down to communication, solutions oriented, fixes problems. Don't give clients a bad experience. That was the deal breaker. And inside that, he said, how would you give a client a bad experience? Not answering questions, not being kind, being disrespectful, or being unkind about their ignorance about the process. So the way that I would frame it at the end is I'd say, hey, Daniel, so if I picked up the phone and had good communication, and let me just say impeccable communication, I was solution oriented, fixed problems, and I gave your clients a good experience, what would be one reason we wouldn't work together? And don't talk. Me as a person that's a spaz, it's hard not to talk. You have to wait for them to give you a reason. One of the reasons might be, or the rebuttal or the answer is, well, I don't know. The other reason could be, or the answer that you're going to get is, I don't think there is any. Another answer you could receive is, my girlfriend's a lender. I've had that. Well, hey, why are we meeting? Well, she's not very good or whatever. But you want to uncover, because the first key to a sale is an objection. You need to overcome an objection. You need to uncover motivation and overcome an objection. You're trying to bring the number one objection to the forefront. I would continue to push. If they're saying nothing, I would pin that down and say, okay, so if I did those, then it wouldn't be unreasonable to say that we would work together, that like I could potentially help your next 3 buyers. Push a little bit. Now, granted, we're not at the second step yet, but this is where we can really dig deep and figure out if okay, we're going to show them that we're going to add value. I do expect this to be a person that falls in line with being a referral partner for me. That being said, you have to know the sales math. The sales math is you do 10 of these, you will have 2 to 3 solid referral partners. 2 to 3. When we think of what we want more closings. How do you get more closings? More contracts, which come from pre-approvals, which comes from meetings face-to-face, which comes from referrals, which comes from referral partners, i.e. real estate agents, divorce attorneys, whatever. You would use this for divorce attorneys, financial advisors, anybody that you potentially see as a referral source. And then the next step is set an appointment. Immediately. Do not leave without setting the appointment. Sometimes it will feel weird. Sometimes you're rushed. It doesn't matter. Set the appointment. I would venture to say the last 100 times I've done this, 100, there's been once I didn't set the appointment that I needed to, and then it's harder to reset it and yada, yada, yada. Don't give yourself an excuse. Set the appointment. The way that you would do that is pretty simple. One reason we wouldn't work together. Cool. Okay, well, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. John, what I'm thinking is, let's look at our calendar, and we can look at a couple times here. I'd like to show you two things. One is I want to think about, so being pensive, I want to think about these things that you say that you need and make sure I'm a good fit, right? What is that, a takeaway close? I want to make sure that we're a good fit. And also, I want to show you kind of the buyer experience and just see if you think that'd be beneficial to your clients. It won't take long. I was a person of my word today. I said it'd be 15 minutes. We probably could do it in 15 minutes. I'd say it's more like 20. Maybe we allot for 30 at a maximum. Does that sound fair? Yes, it sounds fair. You set the meeting, do it right there, send them the invite. Next step, this is something that has been taught to me just somewhat recently, and it's been really impactful. After the appointment, send a proof over promise email. I'm going to show you an example of a proof over promise email. So I sent, they literally even says, proof over promise. This is to a person I met. Here's the 3 things you need to have. Here's me breadcrumbing. Here's examples of communication before and after being under contract. I sent a Tuesday update email where and this is usually a video, but I have a video and it's all my Tuesday updates. And then I sent a consultation overview email where I send to clients after they go under contract, and then, after we do a consultation, and then it literally has, hey, this is what it used to look like. Ours is prettier now. So we do that, and then 2 letters of recommendation. I literally had 2 of my agents do letters of recommendation. ChatGPT wrote this one because Asher's busy, and he said, yep, that looks good. And then one of my other agents wrote this. And then I give them the ability to go check me out easily, less clicks. Go check me out, 4.9. They can go look up stuff easily at their fingertips.
Chris, is this something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Chris, is this something you can share with Rebecca that she could forward to us?
Yeah, sure. I'll send all of it.
Awesome.
I'll send you this
That's really
presentation. Cool. Yep. And then after that, you include this recommendation. Then they show up for the meeting. You do a professional presentation. The professional presentation looks a little bit like, where's it at? There you go. It would look like this. I would share it. I would flip my screen around. I would act like they're a buyer. Hey, Lauren, you said you needed these 3 things: communication, education, referrals back. All right, number 1, communication, and I would talk through how I would satisfy that. Number 2, and then I have some examples. And I'd have number 2, education. We do a full consultation. They leave knowing monthly payment, blah, blah, blah. I would show them examples. The last thing is referrals back. I gave 20 deals back. It totaled 150 in commissions. At this point, after the presentation is done, I immediately show them demonstrating selling at the office. I have the control. I show them the buyer's consultation, which everybody has a different one. Mine looks a little bit like this. So I would run them through Speedy Gonzalez. I would run through my buyer's consult, and I'd go through every single step, but I would do it so fast. And I'd tell them that. I'd say, hey, normally this takes about 25 minutes. I'm going to do it in 4 if you allow me to. And they say, yeah. And then I talk really fast, and it also shows that I know what the heck I'm doing because I've done this buyer's consultation 1,000 times. So I go through all that, and then I show them one other thing. I show them this cash to close calculator that I made and how I would help people understand their cash to close. So if I had a buyer that was here and they were buying at $250 and they told me they only had $3,000, and I'd go through the different consults. I'd show them a mastery. Hey, I would be able to do this like this, and then I would need $8,700 from here. So I would walk them through how I show the client, and they would leave with the packet. That all takes about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Then you have to ask for the business. It might surprise some of you, but this is the part that I'm actively working on, is not just assuming I added a bunch of value and they'll just use me if they use me. Be direct about asking for it. You can be direct without being off-putting. Like, hey, do you think this would be beneficial to your people? I don't know. This might be crazy, but what do you think about the next 3 leads? Send me the next 3 leads and see if I'm what you maybe think I could be. And if I'm not, it's all good. Or if you say that we don't think are a good fit, I'd just rather know now because I don't want to call you 20 times and wear you out. Is that fair? Find a way for it to fit into your personality, but you have to find a way to ask. Any questions about that before we do a role play on it? So we're at 227. I'm going to run through it with, I think it can be with anybody. It doesn't matter to me. Lauren had said, Jonas had said, but I don't really care who it is. First off, if you think that would be helpful, do you think it would be helpful to see it live?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cool.
But I have one
Okay.
question, Chris.
Yes.
So, okay, you ended it with, I want to see if I'm a good fit, whatever, and so I'm not bothering you anymore. So are we still calling them? Are we actually taking them off of our call list?
If they what? If they say that I'm not interested?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you 2-step close them and they say that I would be really surprised if you got somebody step 1 and they came into your office if they didn't say, I won't try you if you ask. But if they do, why would you want to waste your time calling somebody that's not interested? You've literally laid it all out. Here's all my value. And they said, I don't want that value. It's not the right fit. The painful part is you go, I got to go find another agent. It's part of the game. Go find more.
I got a question.
Yeah, clear.
Hey, so have you ever had a situation where you had your first meeting and they were done, they were sold, they were all in? It went over 15 minutes, great conversation, rapport build. You're an hour and 15 minutes of it, and they're like, man, we don't need to do another meeting. I'm good.
Now you can make that assessment, but you have to show them the buyer's consult and answer their questions. It shouldn't have been, I'm going to suggest that it shouldn't have been an hour 15. You weren't a person of your word. And if they have that much time, they probably don't have that much business.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a question.
Yeah, Vanessa, go ahead.
So if you don't have an office, which I like your control at your office, what would be your next best suggestion?
Go to some place you're up in Cleveland, you're close to me. I would go to Lassiter's or one of those coffee shops where it can be a little bit more of a business setting, and I would bring my laptop.
Okay.
Don't do it via Zoom if you can.
Okay.
Chris, it sounds like you like the PowerPoint presentation. I've created like a little business proposal with almost the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Any preference, or would you?
No, the only reason I like the PowerPoint piece is because it shows that you took time and it's not generic and it's specific to them. I'm not telling you can't do it another way. And also, just to be clear, there are actually a couple different frameworks of the 2-step close. When Jim talks about his, and I don't know who I learned it from, but Todd's is a little bit different. The whole premise inside the 2-step close is, what do you want? What do you not want? Can I fulfill that? And then you're following a process inside that. There's another question you could ask. Jim talks about this. I don't do this in particular, but you could ask, hey, what's one thing that the lender you work with that their company does that you don't like? And there's a reason behind that. You'd say, well, they don't want to talk bad about their lender because they like them, but maybe they'll talk bad about the company. Different strokes for different folks. I don't particularly ask that question a lot unless I maybe saw that they had 15 closings with that person and be like, hey, is there anything that I usually just give them honor and find my way into a different position, i.e. for us, it's you better be talking about DSCR and cash flow loans all day long because it's 23% of the market right now. So I would position myself as, hey, you've got a relationship, maybe it's not a good fit, then maybe I could be this person for you, and then you do more niche marketing. That's fine. I'll just be the investor guy for you. I'm the cash flow guy. I'm the non-QM person. I'm the save a deal person. Any other questions? Then we can jump into one.
Chris.
Yep.
Yep. During your initial first meeting, and you can feel right away it's not going to be a good fit, how do you either cut it short or end it?
a little bit of takeaway close, like, hey, I don't know if this is a good fit, but just still feeling it out. I mean, you could just not set the second meeting.
Okay.
Because I mean, what you're saying, you find out within 5 minutes and it's a 15-minute meeting.
Yeah, like you get the agent that's just like is super controlling. He or she doesn't want you to do certain parts of your process, doesn't believe in it, right? Just wants all that control, and you're just like, whoa, this is not a good fit, right? How do you cut it?
I've done it 2 different ways. I've had one where they showed up and I literally said to him, he didn't know why he'd showed up. It was Joel, it was a VA that had called him and set it up. And I said, hey, I want to make sure that I'm adding value. Is this not valuable? And he said, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm like, and I said, hey, it's okay. Like, we can just end the call if that's what you like. And he said, okay. And then he hung up. I've done it that way. My only fear with that is that they now view you as an absolute tool and a douchebag or whatever other term you want to use. My suggestion is that you get through the 15 minutes and just don't set the second one. If you think it's not a good fit, like, can you push through an extra 5 minutes, let them lead for 15 and just know you got to, I would hold on for 10 minutes, but that's my personal preference.
Cool. So you're ending that 15-minute appointment knowing it's not a good fit. You're not setting up the second appointment.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, just don't set it. Don't set it.
You would think any professional would appreciate the fact that you take it from a, nice professional perspective and you're asking them the right questions.
You would think, but sometimes people are
Well
different.
said, yeah, well said.
Yeah, sometimes people are different.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions before we get started? Jonas, are you going to be my spazzy real estate agent?
I would be happy to.
Oh gosh, this is going to be scary. Let me see if I can spot. Well, if you keep talking, you'll probably pop up. So let me see if I can do anything with that. Pin for me. There we go. We're good. All right, now I can see your beautiful face. So just to set the premise, we've set this meeting. Okay. It could be a cold call. It could be you had a hook. Like, it could be a buddy introduction. It doesn't matter what. You could have met him in an open house, i.e. if you meet him in an open house, the easy way to do it is a whole nother class, but it's, hey, would you be opposed to me calling you on Monday and seeing how the open house went? You call them, and within a couple minutes, you set the meeting. Hey, I see you're out there hustling on the weekend. I want to learn a little bit about your business and see if there's a way I can help. Does that sound fair? And then they say, yes, you set the meeting. So we show up, doesn't matter where it is. Let's say at a coffee shop, whatever. We maybe talk for a couple minutes about life, and then we move in. And I'd say, hey, Jonas, so I want to be really particular with your time, okay? I know that you agreed to 15 minutes. I looked up your production. You're doing business. Seriously, I feel honored that you're meeting with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
How the heck have you done 20 buy sides in the past 12 months? I mean, that's top 1-2% maybe.
Lots of systems and lots of work.
Mm-hmm. You have a team that helps you?
I do. I have a transaction coordinator, and I have a couple buyer's agents.
Couple buyer's agents, okay. Do they go generate their own business, or how does your business work? Are you the rainmaker or what?
They lean on me a little bit, but they're out getting their own, and then I'm out doing what I do.
Have you seen? Tell me about your journey of, first off, just how'd you get in the business, and then I'm actually really curious. I want to hone in on how you have shifted from being a solo producer to now being a team lead, because I'm curious about what that looks like for you. It's a totally different skill set. So how'd you get into the business to start?
So 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to be able to be with my kids and be able still to make some money. So a friend of mine was doing real estate, and I got in.
And so, I mean, what kind of money were you making at the other job? Was it good, or is it?
Oh no, I was staying at home with the kids, probably making 30,000-40,000 a year,
Wow.
in doing what I could do to get by.
Huh. And then you just like, oh man, there's maybe some more money out there.
I saw some people being really successful, and I went to a couple of those seminar things and started getting some ideas, and look, now it kind of took off on me.
Well, not kind of take off. It doesn't just happen to people. You made this happen. You know that. You've been
Thank
working.
you.
I can tell.
Thank you.
You talk fast like me. I could tell.
Yes, sir, I do.
Yep. Cool. So you kind of saw that there was potentially money out there. Did you feel dissatisfied with what you were doing, or was that primary, like, hey, I've got to go make some more money, and I can?
Absolutely. I kept seeing people in my office, the big teams that were turning big checks and doing a lot of
Mm.
production. And I realized I could manage my family and do both.
Mm. So is it fair to say that maybe money is a big motivator for you in the real estate business? I mean, are you passionate about the real estate game too, or is it like, hey, I'm just really good at this business. I view it as a business, and the result of that business is money.
I really enjoy helping people, but when I'm here
Okay.
at work, I'm here to work.
Okay, that's fair. So you have some joy, so you get some joy out of it, but maybe some of the joy is cashing in big checks. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cashing checks. All right. I was like, let's cash some checks together. I like this idea.
I'm
Um,
interested.
so what, and tell me about just this transition, like moving from being a solo producer to now having a team and being a provider. What does it look like for you skill set wise? I mean, have you seen, I mean, I want to relate here because I've shifted to where I have some people on my team. It's a totally different skill set. So have you had any struggles with that, or has it been just all roses?
I have. No, absolutely. I was hitting glass ceilings being by myself where I could not break through them. I was at a certain number, was not managing home well, was not managing here. And then it was time for me. My coach told me it was time for me to start adding team members. It was definitely a struggle for the first couple years, adding that onto my plate with my kids. Else.
Okay. So you said coaching. I heard that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I went to one of those seminars and this ninja thing through work. We started going through that, picked up a private coach, and it's somebody who definitely does a lot more business than I do, and they've been on the journey with me.
Yeah, I'm on the coaching train too. It's such a game changer. The accountability, is the accountability really what keeps you going?
It's nuts. I saw a meme the other day that says you get somebody who has been there, done that, and tells you exactly how to do it, and you get to pay them to do it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, let me ask you this. What's maybe I mean, you've been doing business, like you have a lender that you work with right now primarily, or do you have just a couple people?
He is
or what?
100% of my business.
Heck yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm just curious. I'm going to ask this and it'll seem a little off the wall, but why are we meeting then?
Well, the interesting part is he's kind of where I'm at. He's gotten really big, and Saturday and Sunday he's not answering the phone, and you've been hungry and after me, and I don't want to be negative, but it seems like some of his hunger has maybe gone away because I'm feeding him too much.
Interesting. Okay.
It's well, not a 50-50 anymore.
Interesting. And here's my goal, Jonas. I'm not trying to break up good relationships. That's not my goal. I'm trying to see if it's a good fit. It's going to be
really hard to do, Chris. We've been together for 10 years.
No, all good. All good. My goal is to fit a need, right? I could be the weekend guy. Doesn't matter to me. I could be we have some products that people can't do. If you start dipping into investor world, we have some products that just blow people out of the water. But I don't want to take food off this table. I'm just trying to how about you guys continue to have the same amount of business and we can grow some more over here? That's kind of my thought process. Is that fair?
Anything I can add money to the business. I'm not complaining about.
Come on, talk to me. All right, 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you need in a lender, just non-negotiables, have to have.
Close on time. Period.
Close on time. Okay. Tell me why that's important to you.
Because if I'm not closing on time, I'm scampering at the end, and I look bad to my clients, which kills my referrals.
Okay. Well,
and a lot of times my business is contingent or 2 or 3 dominoes, and you miss, all the rest of them are.
So you went all the way to the bottom. I don't even need to ask you whys on that, because you're saying, hey, if this is the domino effect, I will not get referrals. Not getting the referrals means what? You're not getting what?
Business.
Money.
Amen.
We're not cashing checks together. That's fair. Okay. So not closing on time. I mean, ultimately down the line, it equals the money. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. What else do you need? Give me something else. Close on time.
Well, the funny thing is I need other products. I just found out my current lender will not do manufactured homes anymore, which is very intriguing to me. That's another reason why we're talking, because I know you can.
Okay. And are you seeing a lot of manufactured home business right now, or is it?
In our area, we have a lot of land home packages. We have a lot of that kind of thing. And when I hear we're done, I definitely need a resource for that. And that's the reason why how you called me and said that.
So man homes, is there other products you're kind of looking for? Or there might be some out there you don't even know about.
It's funny, you mentioned investors, and it's not something that my lender and I talk about a lot. We are pretty much straight. We have a big Navy base here, so we do a lot of VA together, a lot, but we don't talk about investments a lot.
Can I tell you something crazy? Let me tell you a stat.
Please.
2023, 2% of the market were non-QM loans, non-qualified, so not VA, conventional, Fannie Freddie, Ginnie Mac, all that stuff. Last year, it was 12%. This year, it's 23. 23% of the market is non-qualified mortgages. 18% of the market are investors.
That's very interesting. My lenders
That's a
never brought
year-to-date
that up.
stat. Well, people aren't pursuing it. So, and I won't tell you all about this. I'll tell you about this when we meet again. But these investor products, I mean, it's literally vertically integrated at Summit. We bought an investor company because my CEO is a genius, and he bought it last year because he saw the trend. And so I don't have origination fees. I close in 30 days. I have in-house underwriting. Like, it's wild, and it's 18% of the market. So once again, not trying to break up the relationship here, but we potentially can go grow this 10, 15%. I mean, do you think that would make sense for you to grow your business another 20%?
Well, what you're saying to me is if my guy can't do it, I can call you and see if you can.
Yeah, just on those. Once again, don't break up that relationship, but let's talk about the man homes. Let's talk about the weekends. Let's talk about the investors. Fair?
That'd be huge.
Okay, cool. So the products, why, and just tell me real quick, why is products important to you? I mean, I guess the man homes, tell me a little bit more about that. Why is that important that you do man homes?
Well,
Sounds
we're
like a
out
silly
here-
question.
We're out here in the county, and especially when you got the sailors coming in, trying to have affordability on any stick built is almost next to impossible when they're ranging between 400,000 and 600,000, and these kids are E2s through E4s. So the man home product is definitely big for these young men and women.
And so you probably have a lot of VAs that are doing man homes or trying to, and now they won't do it.
A lot.
Holy camole. Yeah, that's so shoot. If you don't do those, if you don't have a product for it, you're going to be losing out on a bunch of commission.
Yes, and especially in this area is the sailor. The funny part is the sailors come in and out every 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Huh. Give me one more thing. And I know I only have about 3 or 4 minutes left, so I want to make sure I'm respectful.
Communication. Chris, the worst thing in lending is communication. Even the ones that tell me they communicate well, they just plain and simply don't call me.
And tell me what communication means to you? Calling you back in 5 minutes, same day, what?
About my deals. I need to know what your communication plan is about current and active deals, and then staying up with my team, making sure that we need anything. I've been begging for a 3-2-1 buy down sheet or a 2-1 buy down sheet on my properties from my current lender for the last couple of years, and sometimes he does, sometimes he does not.
Interesting. So would that make sense then? Maybe we look at that, and I have a team, so I mean my team, I'd give them a task list and we'll get it done. Like do you want just a list of 3-2-1 buy downs for all your listings every Friday? Does that work?
That'd be great.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. I don't see there's any reason why we wouldn't be able to do that for you. How does the communication affect you? I mean, ultimately, what does it do?
If I can't, like I said, a lot of my deals are domino effects. If I'm not communicated correctly with my lender, I can't communicate to the other folks involved in the deals. And then people definitely start ringing my phones on Friday nights at 5 p.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah, and that's a money thing for sure, like we talked about the close on time, but that also that's a little bit of a joy thing, fair?
Yes, sir.
Like, yeah, not fun. I don't like the phone blowing up on a Friday night. Okay, so here, just a couple more things. What's a absolute deal breaker? What's one thing that if I did it, or maybe my company did it, just you're not interested in working together?
If you were ever rude to my staff or any of my clients.
Rude, okay. Why? This sounds stupid, but why?
It happened in year 2, and I couldn't believe it. There was a problem, and the lender did not handle himself well at all. Spoke to one of my staff the way I do not accept.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It was just not words that I use in my language, and
fair.
It happened, and we won't be working together.
Okay, gotcha. So that's all right. So last thing here. So let's say that I close on time, have products that make sense. We've talked through that. It seems like that might be a good fit already. Had impeccable communication and I wasn't rude to the clients. What's one reason that we wouldn't work together?
I'm not coming up with one, Chris, as long as you know I have my guy. Steve's been with me for this long.
Cool.
So if you're hoping for 80% of my business, or like all these lenders keep asking me for, it's just plain and simply not there, Chris.
Let me rephrase this. I'm going to reframe it. Aside from the business that you and Steve do, only talking about manufactured homes, weekend business, and investor cash flows, is there any reason we wouldn't work together?
No, sir. Steve's let me know he's not answering the phone on the weekends anymore. Okay. So if you can be around for me, heck, that would be fantastic.
Cool. So So it's fair to say I can count on you for maybe your next 3 man home leads.
Man homes, he
Cool.
doesn't do them, so 100%.
Okay, cool. Here's the last thing, Jonas. We're coming up on time. I want to set 15 minutes, maybe 20 if I want to be fair. Like I've been on time. I told you 15 minutes. It's been 15. I'd say maybe even just account for 30, probably a little bit less. I want to just show you 2 things. One is a little bit of proof potentially that, hey, if I do this, it might make sense to work together. The close on time, the products, communication, not being rude, and then show you the actual buyer's consultation. I mean, every single person, we have an hour buyer's consultation and we go through. And so I want you to just see that. It won't take an hour, of course, but I want you to see that. And then at the end of the day, we can decide, like, does it actually make sense to work together? And my goal is, like, if it's not a good fit, it's all good. Like I want you to be able to still accept my offers when I make offers, because I know what I'm doing. Does that sound fair?
That sounds
Cool.
great. Would you mind if I brought my buyer's agents with me?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to. So let's do this. Let's look at the calendar right now. I have Tuesday at 3 or Wednesday at 10. Do either one of those work better for you?
Tuesday at 3, we're good.
Cool. So I'm going to send you a calendar invite real quick. It's silly on my phone, but I'm going to write it down too, and I'll make it look prettier when I get back, okay?
Perfect.
Awesome, brother. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Okay, so end role play. The only thing that I would do then is I would literally take my notes. I would write in the 3 things on the proof over promise immediately afterwards, same day. I would do the 2 letters of recommendation. He said close on time, products, communication. I would have examples for the communication. That's probably the one that I would focus on a little bit. I would have the consultation overview email in the Tuesday update about the communication, and then the reviews right below so he can see, because my reviews say all this stuff about communication. So those are the 3 things I would send. I would bring him into the office, and then I would go through the other things that we already talked about, right? Pulling up the PowerPoint, saying here's the 3 things you said you needed, going through those in particular, showing him the buyer's consult, and then asking for the business again. I want to some people unmute, and let's talk about. I'm going to unpin you, Jonas. I don't know how to do that. Unpin. Okay. Let's talk about some of the things that were done there inside that 2-step close that you picked up on. What sales skills, what did you hear me say? What did you like? What did you not like?
You control the conversation.
Say that again, Adam.
I was gonna say clear, clean communication, right to the point. No fussing about, no, not trying to buddy sell, just trying to get to the point, understand their business, and move on. Make the most of their time. Be efficient with their time.
I would love to buddy sell everybody because I like it, but it's not as efficient, and I can't grow my business as big as I want it. You can only have so many relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Hill.
So one of the things I really loved was your approach of not trying to necessarily become the preferred lender for everybody and trying to fit the need that's there, as opposed to just trying to, be everybody's preferred lender. I love, especially the language that you used is something that that I think about and that I say every now and then about how I'm not trying to take any food out of somebody else's mouth. Being the person that fits their need may not necessarily mean that you're the number one person. So I love that. That's one of my favorite things you said.
I'm gonna add one thing to that, and then Lindsay Kilbrew, you're gonna tell me something. That would be different with different size agents. The people that I'm chasing now have been in the business a while and have a lot of business, and so they've built it and they have relationships. If you're chasing a bunch of people at open houses and they're maybe just starting out, I would just go for the kill and I'd be getting everything.
Yeah.
Jonas was very clear that he had a deep relationship. Yesterday, I looked up MMI or read her on somebody that I went and met. She agreed to meet because she was a listing agent on 2 deals, and she's like, okay, I think something's here. I like this guy. She had 15 deals out of 30 that were with a lender up, and they're besties. She still met. There's a reason she's meeting. Same thing with Jonas. I asked him, I was bold enough to ask him, why are we meeting then? And then he told me. He actually told me immediately how I needed to shift the conversation. Cool. I'm going to be product driven. He doesn't want the weekend. I'm the around the clock mortgage team, baby. You best believe I'm gonna lean into that. I got a team that'll work on the weekend. I have all these things now that I have. He gave me ammo immediately within 2 sentences. He doesn't work on the weekend. He doesn't do man homes. Cool. I'm that guy. And then I also introduced a third leg of the business I could help him with. He didn't even think of, which is the investor world. Gave him some education and then said, here's how we can grow the business here. Lindsay, what, give me something you liked or didn't like. It's okay to not like everything. It's not like it's it's random. I picked him out of a crowd.
I liked that you were direct, but I liked the verbiage. Can I tell you something crazy? Would that make sense? This sounds stupid, but and just how you phrase things where I don't know and I can't say what the psychology of that is, but I really like that and I think that works well.
It's no means yes. I learned that on a Friday sales call 2.5 years ago by Robin Lavasser. Jeremy Miner, look it up. He does a lot of stuff like this. It's no means yes. Would it be crazy? No, that's not crazy. Is it a bad idea? No, it's not a bad idea, which means yes. Would you be offended? No, I wouldn't be offended. Is that fair? Yeah, that's fair. Would you be opposed? Would you be totally opposed? Is it a bad idea? All those things are ways that you can frame better. That's a no means yes. That's a sales technique, no means yes. I want to point out one thing, and I wanted just a couple more questions. I am hyper curious all the time. And so even my body language, I mean, I don't have eyebrows, so it's hard to tell sometimes, but even inside the role play, like I actually am genuinely curious. I'm leaning in. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm intense. I'm an intense person, I know, but I'm generally intense about my curiosity. I'm intensely curious. Mark has that type of face, Mark Massa, where it's like you can pull the eyebrows down and like, man, you're serious, and it draws you in. Different superpower for different people, but you all can be curious. Be thinking why. Be thinking what their motivation is. You have to be thinking when you're doing this. Do not just follow a script. The script is just a framework. And then inside that, you adjust because you've added so many sales skills, you can pull them out at different times. You also, inside that two-step close, you can have a proof over promise folder, a collateral packet, where if you bring that to the meeting, maybe they say something about communication, and you say, hey, here's my last 5 reviews. They all said stuff about communication. If you wanted to give them, there's other things like, oh, you said communication. Here's a printed out Tuesday update that's about communication. So it's something that they can leave with too. All right, who's got some more questions?
Just
Chris,
answered
I just
mine.
want to tell you I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, Adam.
I just answered my question, so perfect. That was it.
Chris, I'm gonna change the way that I set the appointments. I always ask them when's good for them and then try to squeeze it in. I love that you named the 2 times that you had available and waited for me to talk.
Yeah, and they can say neither one of those work. That's fine. All right, Mr. Nielsen, you're hiding in your office at home. Talk to me. This is the first time you weren't in the core or anything before, right?
Definitely not. No,
Is this your first introduction of the two-step close?
it is. I've been asking about it, haven't got a good explanation of it, took copious notes on it. And yeah, asking the tough questions and then shutting up and listening. And
Jeff, you will double your business if you implement this. Double.
I believe you, Chris.
You're curious, you have a personality, you have a lot of background, you will double your business.
And getting the appointments with the right agents.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the wrong agents, it is a buddy sell because like we're on that, it's that level, right? And no wonder
it can be. It can be. I mean, I two-step close everybody. I don't care if they're new or whatever. Now, you have to be, the busier you get, you have to be more protective of your time. You can't just meet everybody. But in the beginning, if anybody's on here that's relatively new, I've two-step close over 400 people before Jolt. So before 2025 started, I had two-step close 400 people. Just over and over and over again. And it was people I met at open houses. It was buddy introduction. You just got in the business. You do a deal a year. It didn't matter. I'm not saying that everybody should do that. Target marketing is better.
Yeah.
but I got a lot of practice.
I need to practice. So
Yeah.
I'm literally going to like prepare and be ready. That's great. Thank you, Chris, for sharing
Yeah,
so
totally.
much of it and so detailed. Yeah.
Adam.
Chris, what do you use your hook? Do you have, are you using like buy before sell, bank statement loans, or do you have a specific hook
To
when
set
you're
the appointment?
prospecting? Yeah, pardon me?
To set the appointment?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the tough part, right? The two-step close seems fairly easy, but the getting them seems to be more the
Set the
challenge.
appointment. I don't cold call. So I have a VA that cold calls for me inside Jolt. So that's the answer, is they have different hooks that are different months. So we had one that was about investor lists. We had one that was about business planning. We had one, I don't even care what their hooks are because I just need them to show up. So
Yeah.
I am outsourcing that. The biggest thing that will hold you back is making the initial prospecting call, because that's the most rejection and that's the biggest barrier to entry. So you can do it yourself. I mean, you can just, a unique value proposition or a hook will have something about solving pain and monetizing it and saying this is what it will result in money wise. So that's what it'll end up being. I mean, off the top of my head, it'd be, hey, hey Adam, it's Chris with Summit. This is super random and you might be totally opposed to this, but we've seen that the market here shifted in the last 2 years from 2% to 23% non-QM loans. So we're talking bank statement, DSCR stuff. I don't know, like, are you looking to grow your business? I mean, we have 7 closings this month for $48,000. Is that like, we're kind of looking for some agents to partner that actually understand the investor market. Would you be open to getting together?
Oh yeah.
That's an easy one. I'm not going to find the time to call 50 agents to do that. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
10 a day, right?
Yeah, 10 a day over and over again. It just depends on your workload. How many, I mean, ultimately you need to be making your outbound calls anyway, so you might as well make them to people that you could give you some business. Remember, it all works back. It's all account acquisition.
Yep.
Heather Phillips, what question do you have? Or comment?
Well, I really enjoyed it. I can appreciate how bold you are. Like there was a couple times where I was like, okay, he's gonna let that go. No, he's not. He's gonna go deeper and ask another question, which I saw Jonas push back a little bit, just saying I'm not gonna really go there, but you still were doing something that I probably wouldn't do, because I wouldn't be comfortable with, but it is a good lesson in teaching somebody to be bolder, because that's how you get deeper connections and relationships. So
What was something he pushed back on that because I didn't even notice it. What was something that I pushed back? Where
when
are
you
talking
asked
about?
him to kind of go a little deeper in what he didn't like, that was rude behavior with a previous event.
Lender.
I was trying to get him to tell a story and get emotional about it and be
Right.
ticked off.
Wow.
Right.
That was the
No,
goal.
I saw
Good.
what you were trying to do there. He pushed back a little bit, but you were still trying to go there and dig there, and I saw that, and I think that was something that I would probably shy away from.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that and learn from that.
Gotcha. Cool. It is 3:00 Eastern time. Thanks for showing up, guys. Everybody
you,
that
bud.
watched the recording, go make some money.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
See you guys. Adios.